In the bustling heart of New York City, where skyscrapers pierce the sky like ambitious dreams, a young woman named Elena trudged through the rain-soaked streets, her worn-out sneakers splashing in puddles that reflected the neon lights of Times Square. She clutched a thin envelope in her hand, the kind that held her meager paycheck from the diner where she worked double shifts. Half of it, always half, would go to the orphanage on the outskirts of the city, the place that had raised her when no one else would. Little did she know, her quiet act of kindness was about to collide with the world of corporate giants, changing lives in ways unimaginable. But before we dive into this heart-wrenching tale of generosity and redemption, if you're moved by stories that remind us of the power of compassion in a cold world, hit that like button right now and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring narratives that will touch your soul. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Elena Ramirez was just 22 years old, but her eyes held the wisdom of someone twice her age. Born to immigrant parents who had crossed borders in search of a better life, she lost them both in a tragic car accident when she was only 8. The system shuffled her from foster home to foster home until she landed at St. Mary's Orphanage, a rundown building in Queens that smelled of old books and faint hope. There, amidst the cries of abandoned children and the tireless efforts of underpaid staff, Elena found her purpose. She vowed that when she aged out at 18, she would give back. And she did, scraping by on minimum wage jobs, first as a cleaner, then as a waitress at Joe's Diner, a greasy spoon that catered to truckers and night owls. Every payday, she split her earnings, half for her tiny studio apartment with its leaky roof and flickering lights, and half wired anonymously to St. Mary's. It wasn't much, maybe $200 a month, but to the orphans it meant new shoes, books, or even a rare field trip. Across town, in a glass tower that overlooked Central Park, sat Alexander Voss, the 45-year-old CEO of Voss Enterprises, a tech conglomerate worth billions. Alex, as his inner circle called him, was the epitome of success: sharp suits, private jets, and a schedule packed with board meetings and galas. But beneath the polished exterior lay a man haunted by his past. Orphaned himself at 12 after his parents died in a house fire, Alex had clawed his way up from the streets of Chicago, building his empire on sheer grit and innovation. He had everything: wealth, power, influence, but something was missing. His marriage had crumbled under the weight of his ambition, leaving him alone in a penthouse that echoed with emptiness. Lately, he'd been reflecting on his life, wondering if all the zeros in his bank account could fill the void where his heart used to be. One crisp autumn morning, Alex decided to escape the boardroom for a taste of normalcy. He slipped into Joe's Diner incognito, trading his Armani for a hoodie and jeans. As he nursed a black coffee at the counter, he overheard Elena chatting with a regular customer. "Yeah, it's tough, but I manage," she said with a tired smile, wiping down the sticky surface. "Half goes to rent, half to the kids at St. Mary's. They need it more than I do." The customer chuckled. "You're a saint, Elena. Most folks would keep it all." Alex's ears perked up. He watched her from afar, her gentle demeanor, the way she slipped a free cookie to a homeless man at the door. Intrigued, he left a generous tip and made a mental note. Back in his office, Alex couldn't shake the encounter. He had his assistant pull up records on St. Mary's. What he found shocked him. The orphanage was on the brink of closure, drowning in debt from rising costs and dwindling donations. Elena's contributions, though small, were a lifeline, appearing like clockwork under an anonymous donor tag. Using his resources, Alex discreetly traced the wires back to her. "This girl is living on crumbs and still giving away half?" he muttered to himself, staring at her photo from a quick background check. She had no family, no safety net, just pure, unadulterated selflessness. It stirred something in him, a flicker of the boy who once dreamed of helping others before success hardened him. As weeks passed, Alex found himself returning to the diner, always in disguise, observing Elena. He saw her skip meals to save money, heard her stories of the orphans she visited on her days off. Little Maria with her love for drawing, Tommy who dreamed of being a pilot. Each visit chipped away at his cynicism. One evening, as rain pounded the windows, Elena confided in a coworker about her latest challenge. Her landlord was evicting her for a rent hike she couldn't afford. "I'll figure it out," she said, her voice steady but her eyes betraying fear. Alex, hidden in a booth, felt a pang. That night, he made a decision that would upend everything. The next day, Alex summoned his executive team. "We're launching a new initiative," he announced. "Voss Cares, a foundation for orphanages nationwide, and it starts with St. Mary's." His team was baffled. Philanthropy wasn't their usual playbook, but Alex was adamant. He poured millions into it overnight, renovating St. Mary's with state-of-the-art facilities, scholarships for the kids, and even a trust fund for alumni like Elena. But that wasn't the unthinkable part. No. What came next would test the boundaries of kindness and vulnerability. Elena arrived at work one foggy morning to find the diner buzzing with unusual energy. A sleek black limo idled outside, and inside her boss was grinning ear to ear. "Elena, honey, you've got a visitor," he said, pointing to a man in a tailored suit who stood by the counter. It was Alex, no disguise this time. "Miss Ramirez," he began, his voice steady but warm. "I've been watching you, not in a creepy way, I promise. Your donations to St. Mary's, they've inspired me more. Then you know." Elena's heart raced. Who was this man? How did he know? Alex explained everything. His own orphanage past, his eavesdropping, his decision to save St. Mary's. Tears welled in her eyes as he handed her a folder. Inside were keys to a fully furnished apartment in a safe neighborhood, rent-free for life, courtesy of Voss Enterprises. "But why?" she whispered, overwhelmed. "Because you reminded me that true wealth isn't in banks, it's in hearts like yours," Alex replied. And then, the unthinkable, he offered her a job, not as a waitress, but as the director of Voss Cares. "You know this world better than anyone. Help me make a difference." The offer floored her. Elena had never dreamed beyond survival. Challenges loomed. Could she trust this stranger? Would she fit into a corporate world? Her first days at Voss Enterprises were a whirlwind of doubt. Colleagues whispered about the charity case girl, and Elena struggled with imposter syndrome, her simple clothes clashing with the designer outfits around her. One particularly tough board meeting saw her ideas dismissed, a program for mentorship between executives and orphans. "Too sentimental," one VP sneered. Elena fled to the rooftop, tears streaming, questioning if she belonged. Alex found her there, the city lights twinkling below. "I felt the same when I started," he admitted, sharing his own stories of rejection and loss. "But you have something I lost, heart. Don't let them dim it." Their conversation deepened their bond, revealing shared scars from childhood abandonment. Slowly, Elena resolved her inner turmoil, refining her pitch with Alex's guidance. At the next meeting, she presented with passion, winning over the skeptics. Voss Cares launched successfully, transforming St. Mary's and expanding to other cities. But life threw more curveballs. Elena discovered Alex's health secret, a rare heart condition from his stressful lifestyle, one that doctors said could worsen without change. "I've built an empire, but at what cost?" He confessed one late night in the office. Elena, drawing from her resilience, encouraged him to slow down, even organizing a surprise visit to St. Mary's where the kids' joy reignited his spirit. In turn, Alex helped Elena confront her past, funding therapy for her unresolved grief. As months turned to years, their professional partnership blossomed into something deeper, a quiet romance built on mutual respect. Challenges persisted. Media scrutiny labeled Elena a gold digger, forcing her to defend her integrity in interviews. Alex faced board pressure to prioritize profits over philanthropy. Together, they navigated these storms, turning Voss Enterprises into a model of corporate responsibility. Elena's programs not only saved orphanages but also inspired employees to volunteer, fostering a company culture of empathy. One pivotal resolution came during a crisis at St. Mary's. A fire damaged the new wing, echoing Alex's childhood trauma. Elena rallied the team, coordinating relief efforts while Alex confronted his fears, personally overseeing rebuilding. In the ashes, they found strength, with Elena proposing a nationwide fire safety initiative for vulnerable institutions. The story culminated at a gala for Voscares' 5th anniversary. Elena, now confident and radiant, stood on stage beside Alex. From a girl who gave half her paycheck to a man who gave half his fortune, she said, "We've learned that kindness multiplies." Alex, his health improved through balanced living, announced his unthinkable final act, stepping down as CEO to run the foundation full-time, naming Elena as his successor. The crowd erupted, but the real magic was in the orphan's eyes. Hope restored. As the curtains fell on this chapter, Elena and Alex walked hand in hand, knowing their journey wasn't just about money or titles, but about healing wounds and lighting paths for others. And you, dear viewer, if this tale of unexpected generosity and emotional redemption